Welcome to Nightique. I'm Edward St. Pé. Tonight we meet Jacky Jack White. He's back with us from Meridian. Jacky Jack White has written hit songs for himself and other country artists, and he's performed with some of the great names in country music. We'll talk to Jacky Jack White, and we'll hear an exclusive performance coming up next on Nightique.
Since 1849, Carter Jewelers has been a part of Jackson's rich history. Over 163 years later, we've not only survived, Carter Jewelers has flourished. From generation to generation, we've established a tradition of excellence. Our reputation is built on customer satisfaction, service, and trust. Every piece of jewelry is handpicked, so you know you're getting the best value.
Nobody says I do like we do at Carter Jewelers.
Come see us and be part of our history.
Welcome back. This is Mr. Jacky Jack White. Jack, thanks for being with us.
Good to be back.
And you know, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. You're going to play for us while you're here,
if you'll let me.
And also, let's talk about your project that runs at the Temple Theater in Meridian.
Okay.
It's the
Sukanachi Review.
Sukanachi Review. Now tell us, well, what is that? That's an Indian word, right?
That's an Indian word. It means Sukanachi. No, I think that it means muscadine grapes, but there's a whole lot of people who think that it means possum. I mean, one of the first shows I ever had was a tribute to George Jones because I was convinced it meant possum, and then I talked to some good Choctaw friends, and they showed me a book, and they said it's from two words, Sukanachi, and they think it means muscadine grapes. So.
Mm-hmm. Now,
anyway, it means a lot of fun to me.
So what do y'all do at the Sukanachi Review?
Well, we have every genre of music that you could ever imagine. It's a true review, and it's really high-grade performers. I'll have some ringers come down from Nashville, or I'll have, you know, in Meridian, Mississippi, in this part of the world, you know, there's great artists everywhere, so they're falling out of the trees, and so I'll have them, and then I'll have some high amateurs, people that I really believe in, because the high amateurs on our show have gone on to do programs like The Voice and American Idol and the X Factor. Really? And Michael Morgan just signed a huge record deal with Warner Brothers. So, and then there's people like myself, not on the way up, but on the way gently down. so we have a place for those kind of folks too.
So you have worked as a country artist, writer, and singer, correct, through the years?
Well, I've written for all genres. I've had hits in pop music and gospel music and country music. I've had some bluegrass cuts, and I've had some blues cuts, and so I like it all. I mean, I've just never been. In fact, I had an orchestra record one of my songs, or a couple of my songs. So I've never been a snob about music because I'm in that business. I love the music, and I just can't afford to be a snob about music. I like all kinds. It's done well and so, honest. If it's honest, I like honest music.
There have been recordings of your music done in other countries outside of the U.S. too.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
Tell us about some of that.
Well, the biggest hit song that I've actually ever written was not here. It was a song called Exchange of Hearts. It was recorded in the United States in 1985 by a marginally successul singer-songwriter named David Slater. And David recorded the song. It was a title cut of an album on Capitol Records. Well, about 9 years later, I don't even know how they got a hold of it, but they put a compilation album together. And the best I have figured out is that it was released in the Philippines first, and then in Japan and Thailand and all these other places. And I thought it was the melody that got them. It got to be a standard. It is a standard over in that Pacific rim of the world. But they tell me that they love the lyrics. It's kind of a boy loses girl kind of song, and you'll be sorry one day when you wake up if we have an exchange of the heart that we have, if we could have an exchange of hearts about this, you'd know how I feel right now, but one day you probably will feel like I do.
So the Pacific Rim folks got it.
They got it. They got it.
Now,
So
what does that
yeah.
do for you financially when you have a hit that hits it in another country? Do you actually reap
Yeah.
benefits from this?
Absolutely, you sure do. But in those other countries, like the Philippines and different places, you better have. I don't have the publishing on that song, unfortunately. Although the man who does, who's with the Grand Ole Opry, Ray Pilla, told me the other day. He said, "I'm going to give you the publishing back on that, just out of the blue." Just a gesture. We've been like brothers. Like he's my older brother for years and years. Like we're brothers. And I'm crazy about Ray. And he just said, "I'm going to give you the publishing back on it." But anyway, when you have a song that's especially in the Pacific Rim of our country, they're not so quick to give you your royalties. So you really have to work it. Now, I mean, it really is. It's not a science as much as it is an art form to get that money.
So tell us about the mysterious publishing rights. How does that work? Let's say you're an artist and you own the publishing, right?
That's right.
Tell us about how do you make money?
A common law copyright's what we did forever until our songs were actually recorded, and that was, you'd put the lyrics and you'd put, back in those days, a cassette into a manila folder. You'd address it to yourself, go to the post office. The post office people in your town always know you, so you say, "Look, I'm just mailing this to myself, so stamp it and just hand it back to me," and then you never open that, and that was your common law copyright. And I had a couple of songs actually stolen from me, so I was able to use that years and years and years ago. But they tell me now that that's not really too great. So you go ahead and you bite the bullet, and you can do it online and get your copyright on your song after it's finished, and the whole 9 yards like that through the Library of Congress. Then after that, you want to get it published. If you're not a publisher yourself, I've had a publishing company for 22 years, I guess, something like that, in partnership with Thomas Vaughn out of McMinnville, Tennessee. And so, but if I didn't, I would be shopping my song around to a publisher, and then he would publish it. Now, he would take half. That's why I got into publishing, because he would take half of the money that's come in as his publishing fee. Then I would get half as the writer, you see. And so
they get half.
They get half because they're supposed to be out there demoing, making a recording of it and making that sweet, and they're supposed to be out there pitching that song on the street.
Now, if you wrote it and you're the publisher, you get 100% of that song.
Good math. That's correct.
So that's why it's important to own your own publishing.
If you can.
If you can.
But if you're not the kind of person who can get that door open, and it's getting to be more and more and more and more of an incestuous, closed door kind of business, then you probably need to shop a publishing deal. And I'm the first to tell you that a lot of times I'll play that thing. I'll say, "Look here," I said, "I'll go to a publisher I know's getting things done." I said, "If you publish this song, I'll give you half of my publishing." Or if I was really desperate, I'd say, "I'll give you all the publishing and get the song cut and let me make some money." Half of something is a heck of a lot better than 100% of nothing.
That's right. If a person would demand to be there to publish their own stuff and they don't have any contacts to sell it,
that's right.
They have 100% of nothing.
And sometimes writers can be the absolute their own worst enemy. I mean, I mean, young writers would come to me when I'd already established myself, and they'd say, "My brother wants you to talk to me, and I just want to meet you, blah, blah, blah." And we'd sit down there, and I can think of a boy's name right now. I'm not going to name his name, and this is years and years ago. And I said, "Well, this is what you need to do, and let me tell you something about that song. That song needs a little shaping here. I won't take any credit, but I just want you to shape that song to make it just a little bit more commercial." The very idea, I wrote that song is my child. I'm not going to touch it. And I'd say, "Well, okay, fine." Maybe sometimes they're right. Maybe a lot of times they're right. But I can tell you a whole heck of a lot of times they were dead wrong, and they're still up in Nashville wondering, why in the world haven't I made it? Because they would not listen. So compromise is not always a bad thing.
Right.
James K. Polk, who came from my hometown of Columbia, Tennessee, was President of the United States way back when, and he was known as a man who knew the art of compromise. And compromise is a healthy thing in marriage and business and just about everything. You can't always, Mick Jagger and Keith Richards wrote it, you can't always get what you want, but if you try sometime, you just might find you get what you need. So, you know, you just have to, it's a business. 2 words. Music. The music is easy, it's fun. A lot of times, hopefully, preferably, it's natural. And the other word is business. And business is brutal and it's tough, and not everybody can do the business part.
Well, on that note, we're going to take a break.
All right.
We're going to come back and talk to Jacky Jack White. Stay with us. We'll be right back after these important messages.
Absolutely.
Bengal presents From One Legend to Another.
When I moved down south, I was not prepared for these insects and pests. I'm so glad my neighbor recommended Bengal. Now I could spend time doing more of what I love.
People trust Bengal products' legendary performance for insect problems in and around the house. Bengal products really work.
Using Bengal gives me more time with the love of my life, Mr. Snuggle Muffins.
We're talking to Jacky Jack White, and Jacky Jack White performs in Meridian at the
Temple Theater, the first Friday of every month. This next show that we're going to have is going to be a Star Spangled Jangle. We're going to have a little bit of all kinds of music, rock and roll and country, and maybe a little smattering of bluegrass and blues. And it's going to be wonderful. It's going to be a celebration.
You know, I noticed on the website, what is the website?
www.jackyjack.com.
Jacky Jack.
And that brings you to the Nightique Review.
I noticed in looking at it, you have quite an array of talent, diverse
Tremendous.
talent.
Tremendous.
You've got country guys, you've got bluegrass guys, you've got blues guys.
Great blues guys.
And you know, I think that's great because, you know, a lot of times people compartmentalize music. You say, well, here's a blues project or here's a country project.
Right.
You bring it all in.
Yeah. I grew up across the street from the guy who booked Willie Nelson. I'm talking about way back in 1960, 61, when he was first started having the tremendous success as a writer. You know, in 1 year, one year, I think it was 1960 or 61, the 61 I think it was, he had Funny How Time Slips Away, The Nightlife Ain't No Good Life for Ray Price. He had Crazy, and he had one other song. I'm trying to think what it was. Let's see, Funny How Time Slips Away, Crazy, Nightlife Ain't No Good Life, and Hello Walls by Farron Young.
I didn't realize
all
he
in
wrote
1
that.
year.
He wrote that one too.
Oh yeah, well he wrote, I mean, dozens and dozens of great
What
songs.
a great career.
One thing about Willie, and now he's 82 years old, and he's still in tremendous demand, is that he loved all kinds of music. You know, when you're listening to him play, and I know there's a lot of purist musicians out there that make fun of him because his timing is not so good. Well, guess what? My timing is not so awesome either. But there's a lot of guitar players that influenced me. Certainly Mother Maybelle, because I worked with the Carter family. Mother Maybelle Carter. Hank Snow influenced me tremendous. Roger McGuinn of the Byrds. I loved his jangling, the way he played. Johnny Rivers, Secret Agent Man, all that sort of stuff. But one guy that really influenced me more than anybody else was Willie Nelson, because when I would listen to him, I realized he's playing jazz chords. And it was years later that I realized, or found out rather, that he was a huge fan of Django Reinhardt, the gypsy jazz guitarist. And so he's always been so wide open to all kinds of music. And I have been too, and for the same reason that Willie is, not because, oh, I think it might make me a few more dollars if I open my mind to it. It's just I've always been interested in honest music. I've just been interested in somebody communicating. You turned me on to some Sinatra. It was an album I'd heard a million years ago, but hadn't listened to it in any depth, was the Jobim.
Jobim guitar and Sinatra
with Frank
singing.
Sinatra.
Right.
With the samba chords and everything. awesome stuff.
So beautiful.
Gosh, it's fantastic.
And you know, it's that record. So it was such a departure for Sinatra to do
was.
that. He goes out with 50-piece orchestra,
Yeah.
and now he's doing something intimate with this Spanish guitarist.
Well, he took a tremendous leap. I'll tell you.
He really
I'll
did.
tell you two instances. Nobody ever remembers the name Furlan Husky. With that strange name, seems like somebody would. But his
I
biggest
do.
hit,
I remember.
His biggest hit was "Wings of a Snow White Dove." But he really had the first Nashville sound country great crossover hit. It was called "Gone," and he just got in his mind. He went in there. Ken Nelson, no disrespect to Ken, but Ken, you know, he usually would just get out of the way and let him have some real raw stuff like Merle Haggard and Buck Owens and things. But he came in there one day. Furlan had the Anita Carr Singers. He had Danny Davis's orchestra. I believe it was Danny's orchestra. He had this mezzo-soprano, that Smithson girl, I think the last name was. And anyway, he said, "What are you doing? You're going to break me on this one song." He said, "I've heard it in my head. I just want to do it like this." So it was the first Nashville song that had all that orchestration behind it, and it was fantastic. I still think it's one of the best songs that was ever recorded in Nashville. Well, that's the way he heard it. That's the way he wanted to do. The second example, when Willie Nelson signed with Jerry Wexler with Atlantic Records, Jerry says, "I want you to do it the way you want to do it." Willie had been doing all this stuff in Nashville all these years and let great people like Chet Atkins and different ones try to guide him around, but they had just their same package, same players, same way of recording. He went in there and he used his own band, and they were loose and they did their own, you know, Willie's great songs that are just way out from left field. You know, they're not typical country songs. And some of the executives heard that and said, "Wait a minute, we can't release this. This is just your demos." And Willie said, No. This is the way we really sound. We want to release it like this. And here's the albums that turned out from that. Phases and Stages. Shotgun Willie, I think, was the first one. Yesterday's Wine was before that. It was before Jerry. But anyway, these were honest, raw, great things. And because of those albums, then the Red-Headed Stranger album was able to come out. Because of those albums, the Stardust album was, they said, well, maybe we'll let Stardust do it, you know. We'll let you do a Stardust album. So, I mean, you know, it's being true to yourself and being true to your sound and to your music. And so, I mean, that's really the way it's supposed to be.
Okay, now you're going to play for us. What are you going to play coming back from this break?
I'm going to do two old songs that one's going to be in a movie and one's going to be recorded pretty soon. But I haven't played these songs in years, so I'm going to have to cheat. I'm going to have to use a music stand. Because as Lefty Frizzell said about his last #1 song, I ain't learnt it yet. So I hadn't learned them yet.
So good. Well, we're looking forward to it. Jacky Jack White will be with us when we return. Stay with us.
All right.
Since 1849, Carter Jewelers has been a part of Jackson's rich history. Over 163 years later, we've not only survived, Carter Jewelers has flourished. From generation to generation, we've established a tradition of excellence. Our reputation is built on customer satisfaction, service, and trust. Every piece of jewelry is handpicked, so you know you're getting the best value.
Nobody says I do like we do at Carter Jewelers.
Come see us and be part of our history.
Well, I'm going to try to do a couple of songs that I wrote a long, long time ago, and as you see, I'm using a cheat sheet because I hadn't done them in a long time. Way back in the woods, there's an old blue sedan, kudzu on the hood, that old top's a caving in. The wheels are all missing, the motor's long gone too, and I wonder who left that old blue sedan. Yes, and I try to imagine that sedan brand new, long, dark, and handsome, running fast and running smooth. I see a good-looking woman, both hands upon the wheel, thinking how next year's model is gonna feel. And I wonder who left that old blue sedan. Cars are like people, they don't like to be alone. They'll fall all apart when no interest is shown. Well, I'm in a good position to fully understand. I wonder who left that old blue sedan. So I step behind the wheel, I sink down in the sea, look in that broken mirror, empty bottle at my feet. Think about a woman and a wreck of a man. I wonder who left that old blue sedan. I wonder who left that old blue sedan. All right, here's a song I wrote with the great Canadian songwriter Alan Soberman. It's going to be in a movie called No Kin for Elvis. It goes like unto this. If your fields lay fallow, the crops all die, well, stay shallow and your luck runs dry. Don't worry about what you do, I'll still be here loving you. If the train rolls by you with your dreams on board, the ship keeps sailing for another shore. Don't you worry about what you do, I'll still be here loving you. This love won't vanish into thin air. No, I'm not going anywhere. Stay right here, you'll finally believe. Mean this world to me. If the storm starts rolling down the mountaintop, rain starts falling like it just won't stop, don't worry about what you'll do, I'll still be here loving you. Orchestra. This love won't vanish into thin air. I'm not going anywhere. It's time you finally believe. Yes, you mean this world to me. If your friends fly south when the times get lean, you're the jilted lover on a movie screen. Don't you worry
about what you lose. I'll still be here loving you. No, don't you worry about what you lose. I'll still be here loving you.
Ingalls Shipbuilding is hiring electricians, structural welders, machinists, ship fitters, pipe fitters, and pipe welders in our Pascagoula, Mississippi site. Signing bonuses available for pipe welders only. Positions are union represented. Come build your career with Ingalls Shipbuilding. Go to www.huntingtoningalls.com/careers or call 888-935-1507. Jacky, that was fantastic. As always, it's a pleasure.
Thank you, brother.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
You're the great guy.
Educational information about the music business, and plus performance. Now, who do we have here?
This is my bodyguard. It's my young son, Henry. And just like you have a young son, Jacques, this is my pal.
And Henry is 10.
He's 10 years old. He has two sisters. He has a 20-year-old sister named Kate, and he has a 12-year-old sister named Mary Mac, who's going on about 25.
Well, he's a handsome young man.
Isn't he a good-looking guy?
He's a good-looking young man. It's great to meet you, Hen, and you have to come back again. Now, does Henry have any musical ambitions at this point?
Well, I don't know about
baseball.
I don't know about ambitions, but talent, no kidding. He's got a tremendous amount of talent. He's got a lot of ability, and he's just ambition. He just likes being Henry, But I got to say, not just to butter you up, he's a huge fan of your singing.
Well,
because he thinks you sing like Chet Baker, but a little bit better.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Hen. I really appreciate it. Okay, good to see you guys. Thanks for being with us.
God bless you.
And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us. We'll see you next time on the next edition of Nightique.